Let's be honest, government contracts can look, well, a little intimidating. They seem like these dense, impenetrable walls of text. But what if I told you that if you know how to read them, they're not just legal documents, they're actually a high-stakes map showing you exactly where the risks and opportunities are hidden. Today, we're going to learn how to crack that code.
To really get this, we're going to look at two completely different government solicitations. In one corner, you've got the Air Force, and they need some seriously cutting-edge AI for battle simulations. And in the other corner, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which just needs a couple of heavy-duty trailers. One is super complex software, the other is just simple hardware.
So what on earth could these two things possibly have in common? Well, it turns out the answer is pretty much everything. Both of these contracts are secretly filled with hidden traps that could sink a company and, at the same time, subtle opportunities that can almost guarantee you a win. And understanding that difference, that's the key to the whole game.
Okay, first up, let's dive into the high-stakes world of that AI research contract. We're about to see how just a single sentence can put a company's most valuable secret, their intellectual property, right on the line.
So picture this. The Air Force Research Lab puts out a call for AI software. For a tech company, this is like a dream come true. But buried deep inside all those documents is a poison pill just waiting. A really close analysis of this contract flags something alarming. The system found a critical contradiction. Now, this isn't just a minor typo. It's a massive red flag screaming that there is a major problem here. And here's the conflict. In one part of the contract, the government demands unlimited rights to the software. That could mean they basically own your secret sauce, your code. But then, in another section, the detailed statement of work, it says the complete opposite, no IP transfer required. So, which one is it?
So what do? Well, you don't guess, and you definitely don't just hope for the best. The only move here is to submit a question right away, immediately. You have to get it in writing. Because if you don't, you are risking accidentally handing over the keys to your entire company, your core intellectual property. That's a huge risk hidden in plain sight.
Okay, so that was a super complex software contract. But what about something simple, like buying a couple of trailers? I mean, a basic hardware purchase has got to be safer, right? Well, let's find out.
Right, the Bureau of Indian Affairs needs 2 trailers. The contract lists out all the specs, the weight ratings, everything. It honestly seems as straightforward as ordering something from a catalog. But even here, this contract is a minefield.
And the first trap has nothing to do with the trailer itself. Not the steel, not the tires. It's about paperwork. A single, super easy-to-miss form that can get your entire bid tossed in the trash before anyone even looks at your price.
Here's the trap. The contract says bidders shall include this specific Indian Economic Enterprise form. Now, in the world of government contracting, the word shall means must. It's not a suggestion, it's an order. If you fail to include this one form, you are immediately disqualified. That's it. Game over.
But believe it or not, the paperwork isn't the only trap here. There's another one, and it's a bit more subtle, buried in the technical requirements for the trailers themselves.
So get this. The contract says the trailers have to be compatible with a new service truck, a truck that the government hasn't even ordered yet. It never specifies the make, the model, or the towing capacity. That ambiguity is a huge red flag. Imagine you deliver the trailer and the government just decides it's not compatible. Well, they can reject the delivery and you're stuck with the bill.
So we've seen the traps, we've seen the minefields. But reading a contract isn't just about avoiding risk. It's about finding the opportunities that your competitors are going to miss. It's time to go on offense. Now, to understand this next strategy, you just need to know one acronym, SBOM. It stands for Software Bill of Materials. You can just think of it like a list of ingredients for a piece of software. It tells you every single component inside, which is absolutely critical for cybersecurity.
All right, take this contract for a new ticketing system at the Hoover Dam. The government asked for a secure system, but they never actually mentioned an SBOM. So what was the winning move? A company proposed a great system, and then they voluntarily offered to provide an SBOM. See what they did? They weren't just meeting the requirement, they were showing that they were way ahead of the curve on security, which made their proposal stand out a lot. That's a pretty smart, proactive strategy. But what do you do when the game seems like it's over before it's even started? What happens when the government announces they're planning to award a contract to your competitor without even holding a competition? This is how you fight back.
When a government agency claims only one company can do the job, that's what's called a sole source award. They have to justify it. So in this case, a military hospital claimed only one specific software could read the IDs on their surgical tools. So what's the strategy? You find the weakness in their argument. If your software can read those same IDs, you have 5 days to submit a capability statement and prove it. And just like that, you can force them to open the contract up for a fair competition.
You know, sometimes the biggest risk in a multi-million-dollar contract isn't hidden in some complex legal language. Sometimes it all comes down to one deceptively simple number: 45.87%. That number was the mandatory small business subcontracting goal for the Hoover Dam contract. Not around 45%, exactly 45.87%. The government treats these goals as completely non-negotiable. If you don't make a good faith effort to hit this exact number, you can get hit with some pretty severe financial penalties. It's the perfect example of how every single detail matters.
So, after looking at AI, trailers, ticketing systems, and medical software, what have we actually learned? What are the real rules of this game we're playing?
Well, the core principles are the same, whether you're selling software or hardware. First, complexity isn't the only place you'll find risk. That simple trailer contract could get you thrown out over one missing form. Second, ambiguity is always a red flag that you have to get clarified. Third, a proactive strategy is what wins. Offering something extra like an SBOM or challenging a sole source notice puts you in the driver's seat. And finally, every single word matters.
Because in the end, winning government contracts isn't just about having the best product or the lowest price. It's really about mastering the game itself, a game of details, of language, and of strategy.
And this all requires a real shift in mindset. You can't just read the words on the page. You have to analyze the intent, you have to spot the traps, and you have to find the openings. Which brings us to the final question you should be asking. Are you just reading the contract, or are you decoding the battlefield?